Hey guys, it's me, Dazzling Kate, and that is Fred in the background if you can hear him. So, anyways, for those who are new here, I am Dazzling Kate. I talk about all things pop culture, comic book related, indie stuff, a lot of everything. I poke my hands in whatever fandom that I can check out and hear about, listen about. And I am not making much sense as I'm reading my fucking script and being like, why the fuck is it why the hell is this bad? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, so my introduction like thing of script bullshit. I do have flashcards as I'm going through this. You might hear Fred in the background. I apologize about him. I do not have my personal private studio, and I don't think I ever will. So, heads up for those who are looking for a professionally done atmosphere, because this is not the place or area, time. Forget the cards. Anyways, so we're going to be talking about Superman, the latest movie, the latest DC creation, and I gotta say, I have a lot of feelings about this film. And honestly, I'm gonna go into more of the reviewer type thing where you analyze a lot of stuff of the film. I feel like when people do, like, when they talk about the movie from a, like, oh yeah, let's do a quick 5-minute review and break it down to why I hate this film or why I love this film. And you never give enough credit to specific areas. And that's the bothering part to me that I want to make sure I at least cover in this movie review. So get your snacks, get your drinks. This is going to be a bit of a long one, guys. So let me make sure I have. So I am gonna go start on to the character designs because honestly, this is something I just really enjoy talking about. Character designs is one of the main reasons why I'm even hooked into comic books, why I'm hooked into wanting design characters, and it's something I see a lot of people either get really right when it comes to character designs or they get really like nothing really thought out of, if that makes sense. Nothing really thought out that they thought, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good idea. And then it gets to the revealing stage and you're like, what the hell? But for this movie, I gotta praise it. I gotta praise it a lot because oh my goodness, the color schemes worn by the characters, specifically Lois Lane, because oh my freaking goodness. Like I have never wanted to wear a jacket by a side character for a superhero movie franchise, but the specific cardigan. Now, I apologize about that. That was Evie. She's like right next to my head when I'm recording this, and Duncan keeps trying to jump onto the table. Yeah, guys, this is an atmosphere where most dogs are in the background. I do not apologize for them. They are my babies. So take it or leave us all. I don't care. Okay, anyways. Now, one of the major reasons why I absolutely love how good they get with the designs. I'm looking at my little cards and I'm like, "Oh shit." Okay, trying to focus. So, one of the big examples have to be Pa and Ma Kent, due to the effect that they give off as somebody friendly and someone you would actually talk to when you go to, like, I don't know, a church meeting or like those like little parties in the community where you see a lot of people, who knows who, that kind of thing. And it's just like you see the friendly Midwestern couple, Pa and Ma Kent. I absolutely loved their designs for this. And I feel like a lot of people kind of took a lot of shit with their designs, and I'm just like, okay, let's think about it this way. Ma and Pa Kent are not exactly rich, not the kind of farmers you would expect to be rich. And the main thing I wanted to see in their designs is something that brings you back home to the Midwest. And considering I am from the Midwest, I know exactly when I see someone who's Midwestern. This is the vibe I am looking at. This is the vibe these 2 gave me, and I absolutely loved it to pieces. It's something I don't see a lot of people look into when it comes to designs, like putting into consideration where the person's from, like what their entire vibe is, what their like you get what I mean? In the last Superman film, I was just like, "Damn, Ma and Pa Kent are looking too good." Like, what the hell? No offense to the actors. It is never the actor's fault when they are, picked to be a specific character. I want you guys to remember that when we go through reviews, is that it's never the actor's fault for playing a specific part that you may or may have not enjoyed and how it's done. Like, I feel like a lot of people are just like, well, I don't really like how like so and so looked in this. They're not hot enough. They're like this, and it's like this is a kind Midwestern couple. And aside from that, Clark is supposed to be someone, you know, who doesn't look exactly like his parents, and you would kind of scratch your head and being like, oh man, they like really don't look so similar in that kind of fashion when it comes to that, you know? Currently petting my dog while I'm trying to read this like cards and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is annoying. I'm sorry guys. This is like this is like my nightmare." I'm like holding my my cards, I'm holding my dog and I'm like, "Oh shit." Anyways. So the color schemes really reflect off their personality, especially for Lois Lane. I got to say when the costume designers made her looks, I was like, that this is Lois Lane. This is absolutely Lois Lane. Like, this is the Lois Lane I saw in the animated series. This is the Lois Lane I've seen in the comics. This is my Lois Lane, and she is perfect. She is perfection. I love it. I love it so fucking much. Like, oh my goodness, I love it. And to know that basically the fact that this purple, like I'm just staring at this purple color, and I know a lot of people are like, Dazzling, hey, why are you just talking about that specific purple? You gotta understand, there are a lot of like different things that happen when you have to get like movie characters outfits done, is that they have specific colors for specific characters, and it makes me remember this one TikTok for like I can't remember her name when she was talking about this like purple blouse, and then talking about Daphne, like from the Scooby Doo movies, wardrobe from the early 2000s Scooby Doo movie, how that was a customized purple color, and the fact that in a lot of fashion for TV, there are specific outfits that you can't just simply make. They are picked with very specific colors in mind, and they cannot be duplicated. They don't get sold. Like I can't really name the process, but my sister was talking about this a while ago, and basically the whole premise is that a lot of the TV clothes you see on television that aren't easily affordable, that aren't merchandise pieces, guess what? They are very customized made, and it's sad that I'm not gonna be able to get that. Like I gotta agree with that girl. Again, I forgot her name. One of these days, I'm definitely gonna put the comment to her to like that specific TikTok because oh my gosh, I gotta agree with her. I love that shade of purple, and knowing that it's not gonna be made as made into a merchandise piece just pisses me off. Anyways, I'll stop talking about the purple blouse. We're gonna go into more territory with the Justice Gang. I gotta say, James Gunn picked good characters. Sorry. I'm kind of laughing because I'm like, this combination of characters I have never really thought being a team would be interesting, but he kind of went nuts with that choice of these three characters, and I gotta enjoy. gotta enjoy that. But the fact that he picked characters that would have the likely good combination of color schemes to be formed into this little unit of a team kind of works. And I gotta really love that specifically for the fact that I was a little concerned when we had these character designs and I had no idea what was going on before I watched the movie. Like, oh, what's gonna happen now? Like, are they gonna fuck up their designs completely? But no, 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 no. They really balanced it out, and I'm kind of impressed. I'm kind of impressed. Granted, I really wish we had gotten more armored pieces and less of those jackets. Like, this is coming from a girl who loves her jackets. Like, this is me who loves Black Canary's leather jacket so fucking much that if nobody brings that leather jacket into a possible Black Canary live action movie or series thing, I'm gonna be pissed. Like for the new DCU, like I will be fucking pissed if they do not bring the jackets. Yet they'll have these guys wear jackets. I kind of felt like it was a little forced with the jackets. Like no offense, I do like how they all have different ways of wearing their jacket. Honestly, I kind of wished that like specific more details were put into it, but it, it's okay to me. It's okay to me. Kind of wish they had put more armor pieces for like Hawk Girl, but that's just me. That's just me. Like I don't know, more armor. Sorry, I'm just okay. Okay, I'll move on. I'll move on. So Ultraman's design was okay, I guess. I kind of wish they had more of a different tone with it. Like I don't know. It's the fact that they didn't. It was just like straight up black. And I get it, black is efficient, blah blah blah. But I kind of wish there was some kind of highlight color, like I don't know, purple, uh, silver. I don't know. It would have made the outfit stand out a little bit more. And I know people are gonna bring up, but there was like the one U on his chest. But I was just like, I kind of wish there was a little bit more of something there. Even the suit having a bit of like a, you know how in like a lot of ways black isn't just black. It's like either a purple black where you can see the highlight of a purple color, or with like a blue color, or a green even, like or a red. It's like we could have seen something like that for the suit, but I guess they had their reasons. I guess they had their reasons. Anyways, I'm gonna move on to the next topic at hand. Again, I apologize for my dogs. They will be noisy. Okay, let's talk about the scenery. I love me some scenery. And I will say that I love how they went out of their way for some of these pieces, especially for the Fortress of Solitude. The fact that they actually made a lot of risen pieces for the set of the Fortress of Solitude, and it's not like just CGI. It's perfection. Granted, yes, the CGI of it rising is there, but the fact that this is what they made to pop out nice. Oh gosh, I can't describe it while I'm looking at it. Okay, okay, sorry. Anyways, I feel like they really, really picked these scenes out straight from the comics. Like literally any of the scenes, you can be like, oh my gosh, this is that. And I absolutely think it was something they worked very hard on. And I like to appreciate these things because honestly, building sets sound terrifying to me. It's easy to draw, but having to assemble all that, having to play with the color combinations, having to like deal with like how to present these specific prop pieces to make it so the scene actually looks complete and not just half-assed. It sounds like a lot of work, and honestly, I'm just like, shout out to those people who worked on those scenes. Let's be real. Picking out these places location wise, must have been a nightmare. So yeah, I really particularly like the fact that it makes the scenes look so much more fun to look at. And I really, really wished there were more moments of David interacting with these set pieces to kind of add more of a it's their vibe, like touching a specific crystal or like picking up something and just showing emotion through grabbing something. And I just really wish we had gotten that. I really wish we did. But the fact that this looks like something straight from the comics, I can appreciate very much, okay? And honestly, let's move on. Let's move on to the next like scene piece that I want to talk about, which I want to say is definitely got to be Kent Farm. This is probably my favorite place out of all the like aside from the Fortress of Solitude, like that is a badass piece. But I want to talk about the fact that this is the like house that Clark lived in. Like this is the little house that raised him. It's so peaceful. It's got the vibe of a nice, quiet town out like farmer. Sorry, I'm just like looking at my notes and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know what to say, but okay, okay, okay. Anyways, but the fact that it just gives those peaceful vibes just really make the scenes that take place during the movie feel that so much better. I really hate when it's just like, oh yeah, they're farmers, they're gonna be rich farmers. Oh, okay. But aren't they supposed to be humbled and just like down to earth kind of people? And it's like, nah, nah. But with this, you can see the humbleness in the background. You can see the peacefulness, the quietness. It's just perfection for the Kemp farm. I just love it. Granted, I do wish they had more scenes for the Kemp farm, and it would have been really nice to have seen more moments of like, little flashbacks or something for Clark basically being on the farm. And I know we saw like at the end of his childhood, but I kind of wish we had gotten maybe one or two scenes involving him in his like youth, like just a simple flashback that kind of wraps it together for like an area of storytelling. It would have actually completed a lot more and made the ending with the inclusion of these like little flashback memory pieces make more sense if that makes sense. But yeah, the Metropolis scenery was good. Like I don't really feel like we got a lot of moments in that specific. Like I know we get the fighting and such, the battle scenes and such in that, but I kind of wish we had gotten some more perspective of like dramatic like cinematography, like switching around a little around the specific buildings and such. But I know that's kind of to cut some edges here and there, but I kind of wish we had gotten more of a in your face kind of thing. But I think with the way that they did it, you know, the cinematography, it was just kind of to make sure they had these specific scenes that they highlighted like easier to translate to those specific scenes. But again, like I said, the Metropolis scenery could have been a little bit more like dramatic since yeah, there's a lot there and I'm just like trying to find the right words, but they really should have added a little bit more in that category. But okay, let's move on to our next thing. We're gonna move on. Oh my god, my dogs are like surrounding me and I'm like 20 minutes into this video. Okay, so we're finally in the story part of this slideshow. So let's get into the story. It is pretty simple and straight to the point. It follows Superman's first loss in a fight and dealing with the effect of, Lex ruining his reputation. And I really wish people would keep this in mind when they do like talk about this. Because I think the biggest thing everyone was talking about was the fact that Superman loses. Like, oh, what did you think was gonna happen? Isn't the point of like this is just crazy to me because I'm just like, that's kind of the point for a lot of these stories. We have a moment where the character loses either something personal or a fight or like a debate, argument, that kind of thing. And they're dealing with the consequences or like trying to struggle with those, like with that new realization that he is like the that they are not vulnerable. And then having to like complain about that. Like I see that so much, and I wish we could all keep in mind when we get into this is that this is the first loss in his life that he's dealing with. So it kind of adds more to the table of the story of what's going on, and it, it's rather interesting when you think about it. No one really focuses on the atmosphere of loss. It's just like, well, they should just move on and tough it out. But this kind of opens up like everyone's perspective on Superman after the loss. Like this is something that opens up the opportunity for Lex to get his way of getting into the Fortress of Solitude. This opens up, you know, Clark feeling like he's not enough in a way to protect everyone, but also there's more consequences from things prior to that that connect back to this loss that adds to the fire of him dealing with this loss. And it's throughout the entirety of the movie, you see that emotion. And I think a lot of people just skip past it. It's like, oh, it's not there. Like if you lost something, like whether it's like a game or a sport event or something like that, you would be a little bitter too. But this is a lot more significant with him actually losing a fight. This is something, again, people overlook to kind of make up an excuse to say, oh, yeah, he deserved to get his ass kicked. He's like a wussy Superman. And I've seen some really wacky things about that that I'm just like, oh my god, not even gonna tackle that. Okay, anyways, the way that the characters involved outside of Superman's usual cast of characters, it the makes it really feel like an older comic book where Superman teamed up with other heroes. Like you ever pick up a random Superman book, like you're usually looking for something featuring a guest appearance from like I don't know Batman or a random like C title C type C type superhero or like D-lister or something. You get what I mean? You usually see something like that. Guest appearing Ant-Man, not Ant-Man, obviously. Fuck. guest appearing, guest appearing Green Arrow, or some bullshit like that. You're gonna see that in like one of the titles of like a randomized Superman book that you pick up. A lot of people are usually looking for that kind of story, and generally it's just something randomized. Like before, I would say, I want to say before the 70s, there was a lot more frequently get there were a lot more frequent guest appearances from like B-list, C-list characters that just appeared in A-list characters' books, and you would frequently see these characters make an appearance in said book, and it makes sense. It makes sense. So I understand why they chose these specific characters for that area to kind of make it seem, like this is something you would probably find in a comic book. like randomized even. But yeah, the screen time with the other heroes and villains of the movie really builds up Superman's character and really how he's perceived by them. We get to not just see Clark's straight story of just, you know, dealing with day to day life. You actually get to see the atmosphere with the villains, with Lex, and or like the Justice Gang. I'm sorry, I keep thinking, giggling at that fact that everyone but Guy was just like, yeah, this name kind of sucks. But we really get to see all these different perspectives of these characters, just like not being exactly like Superman, which is why you need a Superman. You see all these other heroes, and you're just like, well, they're not really thinking too much about, fighting with kindness, trying to be a good person at the end of the day. Like to them, like to the Justice Gang, they're just basically a pre-made group for the sake of, being controlled by a bigger entity, bigger boss, that kind of thing. But Superman, fights solo. He is representing himself. He is not associated with anybody on Earth. So it kind of builds that perspective of how he deals with his character throughout the entirety of the movie. It's something I really think a lot of people dismiss when they're just like, well, why is it important that these characters are included? Why is this important? Like it's supposed to be a solo Superman movie, and it's like it really kind of builds the idea that the character can put hope into other people who don't share his morals but understand why he does what he does, if that makes sense. But yeah, honestly, I'm just like really happy to be talking about this because it's one of my favorite things of the movie that we like. I watched this so many times that I'm just like, it is my absolutely favorite thing to look at each of the characters' part in the movie, in the story itself, just like building up how they see Superman. What are their thoughts on Superman? And looking back at it, it's just this is what they think. That is what they think. And I have like you could watch it dozens of times and pick up new things of how these characters perceive them. I should move on though. The screen time. Wait, that was one of the. Okay, switching out the card. Okay, so his moments with his parents, Lois and Crypto, show how he is when he's not on a mission or dealing with his associates, just more personal and more emotional. And that makes sense. When you look at him on screen with Lois, of course he's going to be emotional. That's someone he's comfortable being emotional with. He's not going to be emotional unless it's something that someone's seen already. And already, I think with a lot of people, it's just like, well, why was he emotional with Lex? When he entered the office and he was like, where's the dog? And he just stops after being recorded. It's something that I really feel kind of is the dropping point from how his loss has affected him and how his reputation is basically going down into the shitter, his own thoughts about himself. Like, this is something in himself that he's dealing with. And his main focus is making sure that crypto's okay. I really, really gotta say, I appreciate seeing that with his character. It's something I think a lot of people would have to appreciate, seeing how emotional and personal he gets with, his parents, Lois and Crypto, how much everything means to him, including even the Superman robots. It's those moments that just really make his moments alone feel a little bit connectable with people. I feel like that is definitely something I can connect with, just losing it on somebody I either really despise or someone I really care about. That's something I feel like a lot of people would understand. Like you're the only you're on blah. Gotta reword that. Okay. You're most vulnerable with the ones you either really love or really hate. There's like that barrier that prevents, like, you got to be strong for these people, but you don't want to be strong for so and so or whatever. Or you don't have to keep your fence up when you're around specific people, like family and friends or your disliked ones. Anyways, moving on, I'm gonna get on to my favorite moments of the film because honestly, I cannot talk enough about these moments that I really had to reserve them for a favorite moments situation. So here it is. My absolute favorite moment is when Clark and Lois are floating in midair. I feel like this kind of creates a new cinematog cinematic kiss scene that's just as comparable to the Spider-Man movie from 2002's upside down kiss scene. I feel like it's on that level. And the sorry, the cinematography for that scene was breathtaking. The way that he just like they float in midair and just slowly go up, it's just something I feel is it has its own personal romantic moment for the two and kind of just that lonely alone just the type of alone moment that they need and it makes it personal for the both of them. I just love that. I really really love that. The cinematography, the lighting, the way it's done, it's but yeah, moving on. The moment I really loved from the Kent farm really had to be when Clark woke up and Crypto was on top of him. It it was like a simple and sweet moment and how it connects the two together with just like quietness and just enjoying that lively moment of just taking it in. And it really reminded me of my own times waking up after a long nap, and sometimes I would find Fred or Evie or Duncan on top of my chest and just basically staring at me, or just like they're rolling around trying to wake me up, just basically being a dog. But this was a really sweet moment to me that I really can't stop talking about because of how it just really reminded me of my other my other dog, Robin. He always did this. He always did this, and it really feels that personal to me. And I feel like a lot of other dog owners would definitely agree with that. That they just felt that same vibe and energy from that scene. Anyways, I'm trying my best not to get emotional because honestly, that would be bad for the mic. Okay, so my third moment had to be when Lois and Clark are talking about crypto, and we see the Justice Gang fighting in the background, and there's this like pretty atmosphere like created based off the attacks. It felt so casual, like it was from the comics. And I know a lot of people would be like, "Oh, shouldn't Superman be trying to like help them?" And it's just like at that point, it's like they can deal with it themselves. Not everyone needs Superman, and it's kind of that moment where Clark is at his deep end of dealing with everything. He's done. He needs to get this resolved because there's so much more than just one fight that's going on. And honestly, I really just had to appreciate how Clark empathizes that Crypto's out there alone and probably scared. He's always looking out for everyone, even if he doesn't care for them sometimes. He's doing his best to understand them. And I really, really am happy that this was probably the more beautiful scenes that just kind of humanized everything for me. And I know a lot of people are just like, Dazzling Kate, you keep You keep talking so positively about this movie. What's something you hated about it? Okay, I'll try my best to sympathize. Empathize. Simplify. Yeah, I'm fucking up the words. Yeah, simplify. What I disliked. I think one of the scenes that probably left me unamused was definitely the fact that they we got that fight scene in the baseball field, and I gotta say, it would have been really funny for him to. No, that would have been bad. I'm gonna say it anyways. Like, I don't know, saying some kind of sporty dad joke. That would have been kind of fun. I'm joking, guys. Jesus. Even my jokes on the flashcards are bad. Fuck. But honestly, yeah, that was kind of a bad scene because something about it just felt empty. I don't know what. Probably the fact that really it would have been more lively to have a lot of people in there, but I also know they were all running away. But again, I just it would have been interesting for it to like go from one place in Metropolis and somehow end up in a different city where they're dealing with this and everyone's evacuating. And that, I guess that would have been expensive though, but I kind of wish it did have some inclusion of like of something like that. Kind like I really think it would have been. This is just something that came to me at the top of my head, and honestly, I think it would have made the film a lot more memorable in a way. I really wish the scene did include people in the like baseball stadium. I really wish there was an active game going on and having, oh no, this is happening right in the middle of the game, like try and evacuate these people like right now, trying to get everybody out. And you see somebody just trying to like rush down and help Superman because honestly, it would have been a lot more interesting to have a dramatic moment like that as you realize, oh my gosh, like even Superman's like he needs our help right now. I think that's something that would have been a lot more better for the movie to kind of say that there's people who are trying to look out for him the most. I feel like they kind of wasted it on the opening moments of the film where he just returns and everyone rushes to his side when he is like when he faints, not faints, when he falls. I feel like that opportunity was kind of wasted on that, and it would have been a lot more easier to put it into the baseball stadium to kind of show all these different people who are just like rushing to like Superman's side, and they're just like, "What the hell's going on?" and that kind of thing. I think it would have been just as comparable to a moment like I'm gonna say like that one moment from the to the Spider-Man 2 when the train scene when everyone's just like when they all finally realize who he is and they're just like, oh, he's just a kid, and it's just like, what the fuck. Just having them all step in, that would have been something I would loved to have seen for this movie if they had people just like stepping in front of like all these like stepping in front of like Ultraman and such. But I can understand why that probably wouldn't have worked. Honestly, I feel like it would have been fun to see something like that. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the last thing for this video. So, anyways, this is something I really wanted to get into, which is the positive effect of Superman, which is its effect on men. I feel like it has that effect on men that it's just as comparable as the effect that woman had when they watched Barbie. Oh my god, my dogs are just surrounding me at this point. It's just as comparable to that scene from like to how Barbie was perceived by the female audience, and I feel like that's good. People are showing their emotions, and that's amazing to see. And honestly, it's interesting that there have been comic shops that reported that people are coming into their shops to buy Superman, Supergirl, and other comics. This includes new readers ordering comics for the first time in their lives or since they were kids. I feel like this is a win-win situation because we're getting more people to come in and read the, books, which is kind of surprising that we don't really see that from a lot of other situations. Like when people are bringing that up and they're like bringing up this like past movie or that movie, and it's just like, do you ever ask the comic shops like, hey, has anyone ever actually entered? No, not that many times, and that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate because this is your time to make that moolah with including these different references of all the books that were used to make this specific movie. And honestly, I feel like a lot of directors need to know this, or a lot of people in general need to include more of like to read lists for these movies. Like when they talk about it in their interviews, I think that's more of the effect of why it did that well. Because I think James Gunn said what inspired his like list, if I remember things correctly. Okay. Plus, people have been more inspired from the movie, or just at least more hopeful to see a superhero movie. Like, tell me how many times we've seen the world's gonna end, and it's up to this group of superheroes to end it. Like, I feel like we haven't been this inspired since I want to say the first Avengers movie, but I think that's kind of pushing it. I feel like a lot of people will tell me that's just kind of pushing it, Dazzling Kate, and I'll be like, well, what can I say? Anyways, the final thing would definitely be that the fact that crypto has helped adoptions go up for dogs, and that really, really makes me happy. But I'm also like, I really, really hope that this is not going to be one of those things where it comes back to bite them in the ass. But I kind of feel like maybe it is. I don't know, but I think the positive effects have been pretty well. And honestly, I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about this part. It's just something I feel like a lot of people need to know is that the fact that this is a different superhero movie than what most would have expected it to be. Yeah, people are still writing on the fact that the Man of Steel movie is connected to, you know, to this movie, and they're expecting it to be like just like that with a dark atmosphere for Superman, and it's like I don't know. It's kind of hard to just do a dark atmosphere for Superman and done right, done right, done right, done right, and actually seeing a positive effect coming from this movie just makes me happy. The fact that this movie isn't, going to be blasting me in the face with like sitting there for so long trying to act tough and be stoic and quiet and bullshitting everything. Like, mm, mm, I can't. But I think I can also say people can like Man of Steel. They can also like this movie, and that's okay. I feel like a lot of people have it on their high horses. Just need to get down and just enjoy these things. I feel like that's what we've forgotten to do with comic book movies is just enjoy it. Granted, don't don't go down the road of Marvel Studios. I don't know where they're going with their bullshit right now. I'll probably end up doing that Fantastic Four review at some point. I know a lot of people will ask me about that at some point because I have yet to actually see it. Maybe it might change my perspective on that. But I do think the fact that the DCU started with this movie is, well, I guess it technically didn't start with that movie, but you guys get what I mean. The start of the movies for the DCU. Anyways, I am gonna go off, and hopefully you guys enjoyed yourselves and listening to my longest ramble ever. Oh my god, I didn't realize it was that long. So I apologize about that, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. Stay safe, stay cool, and most importantly, guys, stay hydrated. This is Dazzling Kate signing the hell out of here.